Hi guys, welcome to the First Half Podcast. My name is Patrick and I'm here with...
My name is Dennis.
Yes, Charlie Dennis, I hope you are doing well.
I'm very well, excellent.
Wonderful. So we are here to discuss Hala Madrid. Yeah, man, Charlie. Yeah, I mean, a lot of information or news going around about Real Madrid. Mm-hmm. And they've been in the news lately, especially in the Champions League, and their Spanish La Liga, games they've played with Barcelona, or Clasico games and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So today I want us to take our time and discuss Real Madrid.
Okay.
And I believe the fans out there of Real Madrid will also chip in the comment section and also give us their opinion.
Okay.
Now let's just go straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
El Clasico.
Yeah.
For some time now we've been watching, and Charlie, Barcelona has been giving it to Real Madrid 1-2. But what do you think about the current El Clasico games that have been played and the current one that is upcoming? Do you think that within the period there are some changes that have happened in Madrid that will be able to help them score Barcelona this time around, or what do you think?
Well, I think both teams have suffered defeats in the Champions League. I mean, although Barcelona's came a bit dramatically because they played well, and we're expecting them to at least. I mean, they deserve to go through, but they didn't happen because Inter edged it.
Yeah.
But focusing on Madrid, I think the challenge with Madrid is that most of their challenges are actually off the pitch. There's too many issues going on in the dressing room. I mean, we just heard that with the season that's not over, we're talking about a new coach coming in. I don't know what has gone on between Ancelotti and the president, because Ancelotti is a very calm gentleman, and you can see that. I mean, he has control of the team, and everything is going on well. I mean, last season he won the Champions League, so for things to fall so drastic to the point where he's leaving and all that, I mean, it has definitely going to have an effect on the team, and it's going to have an effect on what results they are expecting. With the La Liga title being that close, is actually going to this game could have a big impact,
a very big one,
on who wins the La Liga. So I mean, it's a crucial game for both teams. Barcelona is in very, very good form. I don't know the mindset of Ancelotti and how that is going to translate on the pitch, because the boys are all aware that he's leaving. So it's a very interesting game, but so far all the advantages seems to point to a Barcelona win. I don't know if the big stars in Madrid can have a say. That is that Mbappé, Vini, and then Bellingham coming in there to try and because I feel if they will win, it's going to take some individual brilliances from these guys to be able to put it through. But Barcelona seems to be playing as a team, and that is actually going to be very difficult to come over.
All right, sure. So I mean, that being said, I mean, there are some names that you mentioned that I want us to discuss. Because you know how the whole world was waiting. Mbappé was going to Real Madrid. Like this team who can score them and whatnot. Now Mbappé gets to Real Madrid, and they are not winning as many games as we expect them to. Personally, I feel as though that with the front line, the team, the chemistry within those players are not there. It's like everybody wants to show that they're on top. And I've had issues with Vini, especially after this Ballon d'Or issues that came up. You know, so it's like you were saying, if they are going to win, it's going to be about individual brilliance, which shouldn't be the case, and which is not the case in Barcelona, because you see a lot of teamwork in there in Barcelona. You don't see the same thing in Real Madrid. And we can look at the stats of Vini, Mbappé, and Bellingham. I think last season Bellingham has scored more goals than this season. I'm sure maybe he might be having his own challenges that we are yet to know about. But then what would you say about these players? Because these are top players. Vini, Mbappé, Bellingham. What is the problem?
I mean, Madrid has a very good front line, between like the names that you mentioned. You have Rodrigo, Mbappé, and then Vini, backed by Bellingham. Between these players, each of them could easily give you 20 goals a season, and that actually guarantees you the win. But the numbers that they are churning out tells you that there's a lot of things going on that is really affecting the chemistry of the team. Bellingham last season was basically breaking records of Ronaldo and all that. This season we are talking about, out of 28 games, he's actually just scored 8 and assisted 9. That is way below the numbers that you expect from the numbers that he brought in last season. I read somewhere that he's carrying an injury on the shoulder, and he was supposed to actually have a surgery, but he's still carrying. I don't know whether that is true, and that is what is actually hindering his performances. And Vini, as you said, I don't know. Well, I don't know if I can relate it to the Ballon d'Or, but I feel it's an ego issue. He used to be the main guy before Mbappé came. And when it comes to these situations, if you don't manage them well, because sometimes you can see that there are balls that between the two of them. If you're able to connect very well, it serves the team well. But everybody is trying to be the star man, and that takes a very strong coach to be able to bring these things under control. Because I mean, these players are making crazy monies, like monies that countries are supposed to make. And if you don't check their egos, and let them understand that still you are making this money because of football, you play under me, and you don't do what you need to do, you're out. But you had a situation whereby, so I remember I read somewhere where when Pep came into Barcelona the first time, he was a very young coach and all that, but he came in and then he saw how a player like Ronaldinho, Eto'o were playing their attitude of the park. Ronaldinho was a party boy and whatever. He told the club he doesn't want him in his team. He actually got rid of him. Sometimes as a coach, you need to be very firm and let them know who is boss. Because these guys are very young and they have big egos because they are seeing crazy money. Vini, has been the one who was carrying the team until Mbappé came. So he may have a shout as to why he's throwing his toys away, because he feels like I've done what I've done in this team. This guy just came in and you can't just give him more respect, more money than I. So, for the numbers he's churning out this season, talking about 28 games, 11 goals, 5 assists, that is like, for Vini, totally, out of context. And wondering, can the new coach that is coming in be able to calm things down? Let them understand that it is about the coach. You see, if you look at Ronaldo, Benzema, these are people who had players who had very big egos. Benzema has a crazy ego that even made him lose a spot in the country, his French team. But when it came to club football, he had coaches who were able to tame him and let him understand and listen, this is what you are expected to do. And he was able to find a way to play with Ronaldo.
Let's look at Vini and Mbappé. Once Mbappé is in there, because Vini is coming from the flanks, from the wings, Mbappé is in the middle. And before the presence of Mbappé, Vini would have to cut in, try to come in again, and shoot and score. Now you don't have to do that anymore. Now let's get the ball to Mbappé for him to score. So, like you are saying, I agree with you. Once you're able to get a coach for them to understand that, hey guys, this is teamwork. So it wouldn't really matter with the numbers that Vini is churning out. If Mbappé is supposed to be fed with the ball well and they score the goal, because at the end of the day, it's about the team, it's not about the individual.
But that's where the egos come in. But he feels that every season I'm able to get a certain number of goals.
Then he should leave.
I've been the star. Now you coming and I'm supposed to set you up to.
But then funny enough, when you watch Vini and Mbappé, they have a very good relationship. On the pitch, but I don't know about off the pitch, but when you see the pitch,
it's gotten better. I think the coach has addressed it a bit. Because when he came in at first, it was quite bad. There were so many obvious balls that if he laid, it was supposed to just be easy goals. But you could see that he would prefer to dribble and try something that was more difficult.
But then if you watch the goals, Mbappe's goals, because Mbappé has played 30 games with 24 goals, which is not bad. But then you're expecting
in there.
But you were expecting that even with these goals, Madrid should be, at the top there.
Well, they are. To be fair to them, they are still competing because
because of who they are and expectations for them. When it comes low, it's quite obvious.
Exactly. Because with Mbappé coming in there, Vini what he's done in the past, Bellingham what he did last season, and Rodrigo, you were expecting that they should go to a certain level whereby they are actually going to blow everything out of the park. You get it? So I guess it's taken, and you see, with most players who have played under Ancelotti, you realize that when they talk about him, he's a coach that actually don't put a lot of controls and measures in terms of discipline, and he allows you the coaches.
His teams to perform.
He believes, he said that to him, he's a coach, but he doesn't give players skills. So he tries not to sort of restrict their style, but gives you a structure to work within.
And it has worked over
the years, exactly. But these are younger players. You understand? And when it comes to egos and working together and off the field fame and all these kind of stuff, if you don't at least put a hand on it and control it yourself, it may become very easy for these to be managed, because soon you realize that people are having or bearing grudges that you are not even aware of because you missed it. And that is what you can see, that right now the team is just not gelling.
Yeah, it's not gelling at all. I mean, Real Madrid is not the Real Madrid of yesterday.
Exactly.
And Real Madrid was supposed to be an explosive team now since Mbappé came through.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then I think that, well, whoever takes up for Ancelotti would be more interested in how to get these players at the front to gel, to get the results out of them.
It's
so
two things.
I don't see them bringing any other new forwards to join these guys.
It's two things. You either fix it or get rid of one. And I don't see Mbappé leaving.
No.
Exactly. So it's either you keep Vini, because I know that the Saudis are really throwing some crazy numbers at him, that if push comes to shove, he may be tempted to say, you know what, let me think of my life and go and make some money, because he's also won how many Champions Leagues and all that. But for me, if the coach, he's young, he's been around all the big names. I mean, Xabi Alonso has been around.
Yeah.
So he will be a very good guy to be able to bring these egos together and find a way to
do something.
Because when he's coming, it's also about his legacy that he's trying to build.
Yeah.
And it's in his interest to use the talents available to him rather than come in and get into all these politics to try and see who. All of these guys, he needs them.
Yeah.
If you're able to have these two guys firing in your team,
yeah, good.
I mean, come on.
You just have to find a way of getting the best out of them.
Exactly, exactly.
But then sometimes, if you look at the posture of Mbappe, there are some games that you realize his mood and he looks a bit frustrated and whatnot. Do you sense a little bit of regret leaving PSG to Real Madrid? Do you have you think that he might have something like that at the back of his mind?
No, I don't think it's regret. It's too early to think of regret. I mean, yes, PSG are doing well, and as far back as a week ago, nobody thought they were going to qualify beyond the semi-finals and get into the finals. So I think regret would be a bit too far. But what I think is that he's coming with a big name. He's coming with a lot of expectations.
Yeah, a lot on his shoulders.
And he feels like he has to show what he can do. And sometimes that pressure gets to you.
Yeah.
When the pressure gets to you, no matter who you are not able to produce what you apart from what your teammates. If you don't have teammates who accept that, okay, we brought in a bigger star, let's all help him to shine. Then you are in trouble.
You hardly get those kind of teammates.
Exactly. So that is where the challenge is. If everybody, because if you look at, let's take it back to, when Hazard went to Madrid. You come in there and you are coming from a smaller pond of Chelsea, where you were the main man. Everybody worships you.
Supplying the ball.
Now you come in, because in Chelsea, it's like a coach can even tell his strategy is that get the ball to Hazard and leave him to do his thing.
Okay.
But you come into a team where they don't need you that much. It's about you play a role.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it affects your entire gameplay. If you go to Mbappé in PSG, he was the man. With Messi and Neymar in there, he was still the main man that they wanted to hold on to.
That Messi and Neymar were all at
exactly. Now he's come to this place and everybody thinks that, listen, I'm also my guy. Real Madrid is like the cream of the cream. So if you are out here, we deserve to be here. So you're either part of the team or, go and do your own thing.
Okay.
So they need to learn to be a team. If they are a team, the talent is there.
Yeah.
And they are going to do marvelously together. I think they'll still get it right. But as to whether this season they can actually push and win, I want to see how the Clasico goes.
Well, yeah, we would all want to see how the Clasico goes. But then I think that there's a strategy. Madrid has a plan to do a certain build-up or rebuild the team.
Yeah.
Because if you watch the kind of players they want to go in for now, they are doing these young players now.
Yeah.
Hitherto, the Madrid we know like to have these old, experienced players and a team and whatnot. Do you think it's working well for them, or do you think they have a plan which eventually is going to end well because, like we were saying earlier on, currently they want to bring in Alexander as well into the team. I know that when you watch the Barcelona team, you can see the project that they are on.
Yeah,
the point is that these young chaps to see how they
you don't have a choice. Every big team in Europe is rebuilding.
Yeah.
And most of the rebuilds are now the younger players.
The younger generation.
Everybody is thinking of a project 5 years and beyond. So you don't have a choice. If you go with old people or old players, you are giving yourself maximum a year or two for them all to fade away. And then you have to start all over. Madrid is starting, or they've started. You can see that Barcelona has started. They started from Xavi, and he's built a team, and then Hansi Flick is now continuing. But the challenge with Madrid is that, you see, Barcelona didn't go for big stars.
Yeah.
They are looking at boys in the academy. I mean, they've been able to find a gem in Yamal, which I didn't think that they were thinking he would blow up the way he has. But Madrid is basically going for names. And going for names means that you have to also contend with egos.
Yeah.
And that is what is now affecting.
That is their biggest headache in Madrid.
And that's
from the back to the front, you're handling egos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if they are not careful, although you are bringing in young players, someone like, Mbappé has been around, although he's quite young. He has played over 300 games in football. So you can't really in football say he's young.
No.
You understand? So indirectly you are going for,
you can't even say
exactly. So indirectly you are going for established players.
Yeah.
And that one, if you are not careful, you don't have a very strong coach who is able to be very demanding on what needs to be done,
your man management
both
has to be solid
on the pitch and off the pitch. It's going to start affecting you. So what they've gotten wrong is that they should mix it up. They shouldn't go for big names for every position. They should try and bring in some players who are prepared to work for the team. Because that's the same mistake that PSG did. You know, they were not winning, they wanted the Champions League so bad. But instead of building something which they are doing now, they decided to go for the big names, the Neymars, and whatever.
They are so right. Now they don't have the big names and they have
No. Because football is not only about the names. You may get one or two stars in there, but you have to have those who are prepared to do the dirty work for the big stars. Some of these big stars will never track back to defend. They are never going to do everything that the coach wants, because most coaches even allow them to do what they want anyway. So in that case, there should be people who are prepared to do the dirty work. And if everybody thinks I'm a star and I'm not prepared to do this, forget it.
But then again, so have you realized with this big name thing you're talking about, just to digress a bit, you realize that there are certain players who find themselves in certain teams and they are seen as the star players.
Yeah.
Until you pull them out of that team. So let me give you a typical example. We had a player who was amazing at Juventus, Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba was taken to Manchester United and was something else. So now sometimes when you sit back, you realize that, Pogba was surrounded with all kinds of players who were ready to feed him the ball.
He was to do the dirty work.
And other players who he was able to also feed the ball to.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So then you become a star based on your environment.
Of course.
Now, when you are pulled out of that environment, you are exposed. You know, and that is what happens to some of the players.
You can't have two kings ruling a kingdom.
No, not possible.
Somebody needs to be prepared.
Somebody has to do the dirty work. Yeah.
And that is where
it's so true. That's where the Madrid is having the challenge right now.
Biggest problem. Everybody thinks I'm a star. I mean, they don't know who you are. I mean, to be fair, Mbappé, what have you done for Madrid? So Vini would think he's bigger than you.
Because
so
I believe that the team what it is for you come in.
So I believe that if you come in with whatever money or whatever accolades you are bringing, it's fair that I'm now new here. I'm about to learn what is going on here. So Vini, you are the senior man. Show me the way, and then gradually I'll take over. But that's the point. You see, if he's not careful, he's building this reputation.
Show me Mbappé the way.
No, but the point, he's building a reputation whereby everywhere he goes, there seems to be chaos. He had this in PSG, whereby there was rumors of him having a rift with Messi, and then Neymar and all that. I mean, there were so many rumors in there in terms of his attitude. And now he's coming here. So this is a new opportunity, a clean slate, and just be humble. And then because everybody knows you, everybody knows what you can do.
But I think it would be very unfair to say that he should be humble.
Why?
Because I personally haven't seen any act of his that has shown that he's trying to be arrogant or whatnot.
No,
maybe off the pitch.
If we study his game closely, there are a lot of games that or balls that he too needs to pass, and he thinks I'm the man and I'll shoot.
But what is his role? What has the coach told him to do?
But that's the point. The point is, see, the coach can tell you whatever.
Yeah, but
if it is not bringing chemistry in the team, players are going to be aggrieved, and they are going to set you up to fail.
But then
you can't do it alone.
Then that is the blame game. We have to blame the coach.
Well, that's why
because then if you've instructed me to do A, and because of that all the players are against me, I can't say that because of that I'm going to change what the coach is saying, because the ultimate instruction is coming from the coach.
Well, I mean, you see, for me, football humility comes from, you know, you have the talent, but you are here to help the team. It's not about you. It's never about one individual person. So if you know that, okay, I'm Mbappé, this is what I can do, but it's not for myself, but to help the team. If that is your main goal, and your main goal is to help the team, gradually you shine as an individual. And that's where the issue is.
So I mean, like you're saying, so maybe they need to have a proper, like you're saying,
a stronger coach.
Yeah, we need a strong. But I think that the age factor also matters. And two, Xabi Alonso is a perfect fit for the job. Why do I say so? I think so because for his age, what he's done with experience, I think he can relate better with the players. But then that notwithstanding, the weight on your shoulder when you take up a job like a Real Madrid coach is totally different from wherever you have been. And at the end of the day, the expectations also is quite huge. So
well, I mean,
I think
that for him, he's coming in with some accolades. He just won.
So just to land, I think that if it's a done deal and he's really settled in for the job, I think he has to start doing some behind the scenes job with his top players who might be the problem before he actually takes up the role. So that at least he can actually calm down the storm. When if there are any, then he can actually start working. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's done an amazing job with Leverkusen, and I think that it helps him to actually merit, or he's merited to end his job.
He deserves it.
Because obviously, whatever he's done in there since he went in there has been fantastic. Meaning that he has a philosophy, he understands football, and with even better talents, you're expecting him to even go higher in the game. So, I mean, I think he's going to do well, but there is this, what do you call it, myth or whatever, that there is a case whereby most Spanish teams, Spanish coaches that have gone into Madrid have not actually done very well. So he needs to be the one to be able to break that case. To be able to.
Del Bosco case.
Yes. I don't know whether that's real, but the reality is that, I mean, he has worked under some amazing coaches himself.
He has.
That if he's able to pick whatever they learn, I mean, what he did in Liverpool, because you assume that he has, I think he will be the best man for the job. And fair to Madrid, they said he has been the only option after Carlo. They didn't look at any other person.
Wow.
He was the first, second, and third choice.
Wow.
They didn't look at any option, so they wanted him at all costs.
Okay.
So I assume that they've done their research on him and they believe that he's the man for the job.
I'll be very happy if he succeeds, of course, because it's a Liverpool product. I had to say that.
Of course you had to. Yes.
And I think that
he's played in Madrid as well.
Yeah, I mean, but if you talk to him, he'll let you know.
That was
so. But I think that Xabi Alonso is going to do great in the team. I think he's a perfect match for the job. I also believe that with the experience he's coming over with, what he's done with Bayer Leverkusen, I think that the players will be ready to listen to him. They'll be ready to listen to him and see what he can bring onto the table. Because now, as we speak, if they're not too careful, and as players of Real Madrid, they should be willing to accept where they are and also know where they want to be. So if you are getting a new coach, it's like a clean start for all of us. Let's all listen to the coach. Let's all come together as a team and make sure that we're back on top. Because right now, Charlie, Barcelona is on the ride.
I think, with the level that Madrid is, if you go into their immediate history whereby they had big names, but look at, they also pay attention to who the coach is before they listen to you. Zidane came in there. And
Zinedine.
Exactly. And
top guy.
Who in world football will not listen to Zidane?
You have, what do you know?
Exactly. So I'm assuming that with what Alonso has done in the game, he could also make an impact. Carlo has a history in the game, but I feel that he has worked too long to the point where most of his philosophies are fading now because with the
the
time Carlo started coaching, there was no social media and all these things are new to him in terms of managing the players' emotions and what they see online and all these things. So there may be things in there that may fall through the cracks for Carlo. So that is one thing that I believe that Alonso should be able to deal with, so that at least the players are always focused. But there's one thing that I wanted to ask. Look at Modrić. Basically, his season is his contract ends this season. There are rumors of Madrid not looking to renew. He used actually to be a colleague or teammate of Alonso.
Yeah.
Do you think he will want to keep him for another year or he'll let him go? Because there are rumors that they are looking at extending his contract just to finish the Club World Cup.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. But after that, as to whether they renew or not is up to the new coach.
Yeah, but with Modrić, his age has not really impacted the kind of game he plays. He's still giving out his best. Of course, that energy is not still there as it used to be.
Yeah.
But I think any team with a Modrić, it's the experience. But then, of course, like you said, the advantage of Xavi coming could also help with speeding up or getting him the contract to stay, because
I do think there's really want him there.
Yeah, why not? I mean, there are a lot of games to play within a season. If you have a Modrić on your bench, you don't lose anything. That is what I think. And it's different if, let's say, this season, as much as he might not have so many goals, but when he comes into a game, he changes the game. So then what do you lose by keeping such a player? However, it depends on the project that they are trying to do or whatever they are carrying out. So we think that if they think that for now they have to bring in younger players and they don't need them, fine. But I think that with the relation that he has with Xavi, it's likely that any coach would like to work with somebody they've played with before, and because they know what they can bring on board. So that is what I think. I think it might work out for him, and it might give maybe an extension of the contract for him to stay and see what he can do.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. Charlie, this is what our thoughts on Real Madrid. The Hala Madrid fans out there. I know you guys have not been too happy because nowadays, Charlie, things don't go too well. But guess what? There's our Classical coming up. This is what we think about Real Madrid. This is what we think about how well Xavi can improve the team. What do you think? Subscribe. Let us know what you think. Cheers.